Good morning, everybody. Before we officially start our meeting, I'm going to ask Reverend Dwayne White to come up and lead us in prayer, if he would.
Lord God, the depths of the earth are in your hands. The mountain peaks are yours. The sea is yours. You made it. Your hands formed the dry land. So Lord, this morning, we worship you, bow down to you, and kneel before you, Lord God, our Maker. Lord, I thank you for our county leaders who know you, love you, and want to do your perfect will for our county. So Lord, I pray for wisdom and guidance as they discuss and consider the issues before them this morning. And Lord, I pray that you would continue to bless Hardin County as you have in the past, because you are the Lord, our God. Your love is eternal, and your righteousness, your faithfulness endures through all the generations. Thank you, Lord, for loving us as you do, and we pray in your name, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Let's have a pledge, if you will.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Yeah, Rick has volunteered to sing the national anthem.
How much will you pay me for me not to sing?
We'll call the meeting to order now. Thank everybody for being here today. Appreciate your interest and your concerns for the things that are going on here. Before we start, I'd like to recognize just a couple of people in the audience, and then normally I don't do this. But we have a new incoming CEO of Heartland Workforce, Donna Doubleday. She's right here, waving. That's her up there. The only other one that I'm going to, and I'm sure I'll hear from about this, but I'm going to only for one reason. He went to FSU. Now, I'm just saying. Kyle Long is here today, and we're glad you're here. And he is marrying a local girl, and he came to see us in action. Glad to have you here, and everybody else, of course, especially Cohen. All right, I think Bill has some changes, I think.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, prior to approval of the agenda and minutes, I would like to add if you will make item 2, approval of agenda and minutes, item 2A, I'd like you to add 2B, reorganization information. And then also on item 4, I'd like you to make it 4A, and then 4B will be PFM update and lease modification.
Okay. I would assume everybody had a chance via email to get the minutes and the agenda from last meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of last meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion made, seconded to approve the minutes of last meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
No.
Motion carries.
I need to explain.
You don't have to explain your
yes,
no
I
vote.
do.
No, you don't.
According to the instructions.
Let me tell you how this works.
No.
Let me tell you how this works,
Yeah, tell
please,
me.
sir.
Tell me.
The chairman is in charge of this meeting.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
And when the chairman's ready to move on, we're going to move on. All the time.
PF man, 3 lines. You call that minutes? You don't know what minutes are then. by
Thank you for your
definition.
information.
I
Please,
want-
sir. Please,
no.
sir, we're moving on. We're going to move on, and we're going to have to ask you to leave this room.
Okay.
The chairman is in charge.
Thank you.
Whether it's me or
We'll get
you
back
or
to PF
anybody
man
else.
later.
That's fine. There's an item on the agenda for them.
Good.
All right, we will approve the agenda. Oh, we just did that. Well, the minutes. We'll approve the agenda. And we have a motion to that effect. With the changes, I'm sorry.
So moved.
Second. Motion made and seconded to approve the agenda as Amended? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
No.
Motion carries. Bill?
Item 2B, reorganization information. The IDA reorganizes on the first meeting, or the meeting in October. And because this is the first year of dual membership, we will need to consider a chairman, a vice chairman, and a secretary treasurer at that meeting. And that will be the first item on the agenda for that meeting. Just wanted to give everyone a heads up regarding that.
Okay, next.
Kristen?
Good morning. We sent out the bids for the website and logo update. So I have John Abate with Marketing Alliance and Josh Flynn with Intensity who are here to present their bids. So I'll have John present first.
Thank you, Kristen. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to come here today and present Marketing Alliance and our capabilities in helping Hardy develop the website for economic development. I have a presentation. I'll try to keep it short. I know we have a long agenda. Christy, if you will, just kind of advance the slide as I ask. Marketing Alliance is a company I started in 2001. We are focused 100% of our efforts on economic development, Chamber of Commerce, and municipality marketing. Excellent. Understanding the audience is critical. Site consultants are a big audience as far as economic development. We consult with them on a regular basis to ensure the effectiveness of our efforts from a marketing standpoint. We understand the targeted audience, so I think that's critical to point out. Next. We, as I mentioned, we work exclusively in economic development. We have over 75 economic development organizations as clients today in about 10 states in the Southeast. And if you just kind of go through this real quick, it's a listing primarily in the Southeast. These are our current clients. And from an in-house marketing standpoint, we're a full-service firm. Part of the RFP is logo redevelopment as well as a website. As the county expands, I just would like to point out that we have the capabilities from a full-service economic development marketing firm capability. So quickly, we just do the branding, we do website development, mobile websites, 3D animation, virtual spec buildings, kiosk systems, photography, panoramic images, videography, camera merge, continue, print ads, brochures, quality of life publications, email marketing, marketing centers, QR codes. So we have a comprehensive list of capabilities if the relationship moves beyond just website development logo. Now, as far as the website development process, just kind of walking you through the steps, communications is critical. So throughout the production, we have a dedicated production manager for Hardy County. We have 24/7 days a week access to the account supervisor, and that would be myself. I have my cell phone. I encourage all my clients to call me anytime. I never stop working. I own the business. You know how that is. So, total access with staff. We have Adobe Connect video conferencing and Skype for all of our staff members, so you would be able to dial anybody in at any point in time. And once the site is up in the development phase, there's 24/7 online development of the site, so you can sign up, you can see the progression of the site. So when we start the project, we have a kickoff meeting. This is just a form that we kind of go through. It talks about all the creative mandatories, things that need to be considered. So we kind of go through this initial step of a kickoff meeting. Next, we would then develop a flow chart, and this flow chart is kind of the outline of the structure of the site. Now we have a standard economic development site structure that we would begin with, and then from there we'd modify it based on, I know that there's a lot of pertinent information specific to Hardin County that we would probably modify this. So once the website structure has been developed, that's when we go into the design stage. So the next slide, we'll talk about the design process. We start with the design process. We'll create a couple of, probably 3 or 4 designs, homepage designs. We'll work back and forth on the design of that. While that's going on, the content development, which is critical, needs to be in process. So whether we develop the content or you develop the content, that also needs to be going on. And once the design's approved, we then go into the coding and the interactive functionality of the site. We then integrate the CMS system, which is the content management system, which will allow you to update the content. And once that content has been integrated, we then have training on the customer, the CMS training, and then we schedule a site launch. Here's just an example of a site that we did in Muskogee, Oklahoma. It is a comprehensive site. I'll just kind of show you briefly what the homepage design here has: sites and buildings, an interactive map, an overview, and then standard tab such as site selection, which is critical for those site selectors that come. You have everything kind of organized in the site selection category, and then the various other navigational tabs there. Let's go on to the next one. Here is, I know the GIS system is something that you want to integrate. You're probably, I believe, using the Florida Power and Light GIS planning. We also have a system that works similar to the GIS. We use Google Mapping. It allows you to populate the site with your properties and your data. This is something I kind of would encourage because the Florida Power and Light GIS system is something that is free temporarily. It may not be free in the next year or so, and GIS in general is pretty expensive. This is a good way to kind of handle it yourself and not have to rely on that if you chose to do so. Other things I wanted to point out, we have report features throughout the development of the site. So as the viewer goes to your website, you have the ability to, kind of like a shopping cart, put into your report anything that you find of interest, whether it's properties or demographics or information about Hardin County. You can create your own report. So when you're done with viewing the website, you generate a report that you can then print out or email or do whatever you would like to from a research standpoint. Next, Chris. The other thing that we've incorporated is a interactive map. That's something that our site consultants have told us time and time again. They love the ability to kind of interact from an interactive asset map. And that kind of shows national presence, regional presence, local presence, and your community assets. So that's something that we've incorporated into the site as well. Next, Chris. So the content management system is a critical component of the site, and we use something called Expression Engine. I'll just give you a quick overview of that. It's an online system, so anywhere that you have access to the internet, you can go in and edit and update and add content to your website. Simple login page. Next. You have, it's very user-friendly. We like it so much because it doesn't require any kind of website knowledge to edit and populate the site. Anyone can do it. No coding is required. You can simply either edit what's currently there or post new things that are there. Other nice features about it is that, there's a lot of things within this system that will allow you to expand in the future. Calendars, if you have agendas, things that you want to post in the future, you can tell it to post on a certain day and remove on a certain day. So it's a really nice system that we use and strongly like. The next slide just kind of shows you a typical edit or population where you have a headline, you have the body of copy. It's as simple as typing, copying, and pasting. Photographs, if you go to the next one, if you load a photograph, it automatically sizes it for you. So it's really user-friendly. We'll go on. All right, these are just some examples of some websites that we've done. This is one for Mississippi Economic Development Council. It's a statewide organization. We completely rebranded that this last quarter. New logo, websites, apps. We actually created apps for their members. It has good mobile use. It has a mobile site, has a mobile app for Android and Apple. Next. This is one closer to home, DeSoto County. We have worked with them in the last year. We've worked on their tourism website here, which incorporates a nice interactive map for exploring everything about DeSoto County. We also have worked with them on their city website, their county website, and other material, print material, and so forth. Next. This is another one for another ED organization in Mississippi, where we have sites, an interactive map, and a mega site. And I'm just showing you some design samples. And the next one is another one closer to home, Charlotte County. This is one that we just launched about 2 months ago. It also has all the capabilities on interactive maps. We also created a 3D sales presentation on the Punta Gorda Airport. And it has a lot of functionality too. It's incorporated with the Florida Power and Light GIS system. We had it set up so that they populate the properties with the system that we built in the website. And Florida Power and Light is extracting that data going into their site. So we worked with GIS planning to kind of help integrate that so that we could have the best of both worlds. Next. Another ED website. Continue. Another one. And this is Sumter, South Carolina, another one. And then this one I thought has some applications. This is one that we're in the development stage of right now, but it's for West Point. They have a lot of organizations that they want to tie together. So this is a situation where we have a portal page where we have the chamber, we have the city, we have the Main Street, we have the ED, and then we have an interactive county map. So it kind of brings it all together. Next. Logo development process, similar in nature as far as the process. We have our initial kickoff meeting and continue on. Christy, we had the design process of 6 to 12 initial designs. We come back with some modifications and feedback. We can set up online surveys if we have a lot of people that are going to be involved in that process, where we can post the designs and everyone can kind of vote and so forth. And then after the modifications, we go back, we come back with some modified logos. Eventually we come down to the final logo, and then we pull together a logo package. Here's some examples. Cartersville, Bartow. There's the MEDC that we looked at on their website. McAllister, Oklahoma rebranded their city. Charlotte County redid that, kind of played, colors and fonts go along with the Florida Economic Development Enterprise Floridas. We wanted to work together with their organization. Next, Altus, Oklahoma. All right, so questions on the proposal. I had pulled together a proposal for the website development. I also had some options, some line item options in there that for consideration. One thing I wanted to point out, we have enhanced analytics is something that is a new service that I think has a lot of value for ED organizations. It's an additional cost. However, what it does is it actually will identify actual companies by name that come to your website. And I think that's critical when, from a sales standpoint, if you're relying heavily on a website to generate leads, actually going beyond just where they're located geographically, that Google Analytics will provide, this service will actually identify companies by name through reverse IP address engineering. So I think that's something to consider, if not now, but in the future. I think that's something really that I would recommend. Copywriting is another thing that we offer. We have a full-time copywriter. We understand economic development real well, so there won't be any training. We can articulate the message real well. From a content standpoint in a website, that's usually the biggest holdup. It's easy to get it built, but populating the pages is critical. And we need to have good content, good word phrases articulated for searching. So that's something I would recommend if you feel like content may be a holdup, we can help with that. Any questions? Sir?
The
Who you'd like to
GIS,
help? Please, sir.
the GIS mapping that you said a lot of the sites had, I didn't see it individually. I may have overlooked it. Is it in the proposal for GIS?
What it's including linking to the current GIS Florida Power Line system.
Okay.
So it would be incorporating your current GIS system, which I believe, Kristen, isn't that provided by Florida Power Line? So it does include that.
Okay.
Right. It also includes, if you elected to have your own property management system in place, we could have that also incorporated and still have those properties extracted from your website to go into the Florida Power Line site. And the reason for that is in the event Florida Power Line decides to start charging for that service, at least you have a backup.
Is that the Google map?
The Google mapping is our solution, yes, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Here.
Yes, sir.
I would
Come
like,
up, please, sir.
okay. I didn't want to hold you up all day, dragging up there, but Frank Burke from Bowling Green, Florida. First, I'm gonna do something very unusual. I'm gonna tell you, if you put the information you got on it, y'all's site is about the best one I ever been to for user friendly. I really like it. So, but I don't know anything about the aspect of trying to farm out and get businesses in part of y'all's site, because I don't pay much attention to that stuff. But I want to know, are you going to keep this site with it? My question is, where is the public records going to be?
We'll keep the information that we currently have that's still relevant, and we will put it onto the new website.
Y'all have
So we'll
places
keep the
posted
same
there?
URL
Okay,
address.
that was my question.
Sure, we'll incorporate.
Sorry.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
Of course, looked at the proposal and saw the initial cost to set it up. Could you, because I see there's some other, and I understand additional services on an hourly basis. What would be the following year cost? After it's developed, is there additional cost each year to continue? And can you point me to that in the proposal?
Sure. Yeah, once it's built, there's no additional cost. There is that hosting cost, and we incorporate it. And we don't host. We have a third party we recommend. And I included 1 year of hosting, and I think it's around, and I went for a higher level service where it should be really quick. I think it's $24 a month, so you would have an additional $24 a month moving forward after that first year. But that would be it.
Unless we had to come back to you for some changes or something in any design whatevers. Hopefully, at the outset, that will be resolved.
Yes, sir. You would have the ability to make just about all the changes yourself. You can add additional pages, tertiary pages. I mean, so it will be designed so you can do a lot of edits and add
In-house.
yourself in-house, if you choose to. Otherwise, we could do that. Glad to. If we do that, we would have a fee for that.
Right.
But yeah, you would. That's the nice thing about it, is you would have the ability to do that.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Jim.
Yes.
I see where you have affiliation with Henry and Charlotte and DeSoto County. How long have you been affiliated with those particular counties? And is it short term, or you've been?
Well, I tell you, I started the company in 2001, and my main office is in Mississippi, Jackson. I have an office in Charlotte, North Carolina, another in Tulsa. And a year ago, I moved here for personal reasons. I love it here. Started calling in Florida. My wife and I wanted to move here, so we did. I have been talking with Bill's organization for about 3 years. You know, from an economic development standpoint, that's all we do. So I go out and reach out to organizations and counties similar to Hardy. And we've been in dialogue, or at least I think it's been almost 3 years. I've worked with DeSoto for probably 2 years now. I've just signed recently, we're in the second year of a 3-year contract, doing all their marketing. And then Charlotte County is fairly new. We just went through about a 6-month contract, and we're looking at a 3-year contract at this point. So fairly recent in the last few years here in Florida.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Is this the only proposal we got?
No, we have one more.
Is it gonna be a presentation?
Yes.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, sir.
Well, thank you for your
Appreciate
time.
Okay, now we have Josh Flynn with Intensity.
Right here, no.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, board members. Can you guys hear me okay? I think audio's good. All right, the presentation this morning is going to be fairly straightforward. What we're going to do is actually just go through the proposal and really make it open-ended and dialogue, let you guys ask questions. You know, when you're talking about building a website, to a lot of people that seems just like a foreign thing, you know. A lot of technical jargon, a lot of information out there. One thing that Intensity is known for is to take a very complex system like a website, content management systems and marketing solutions, and really simplify that. And we're known to speak English, you know what I mean? When it comes to technology, we don't speak that. Intensity was founded back, we started back in 1995. The Intensity brand was launched in 97. We've been around for quite some time. If you think back to the mid-90s, we didn't really have websites, we had a web page. So, you know, many years fast forward, technology has grown tremendously, and now we're able to do wonderful things within the websites and attract those visitors. One thing that Intensity, kind of our approach, if you will, is a little bit different. We first start with studying who your target audience is going to be. Those businesses who are looking to come to the county, how do we attract them to there? How is this website going to serve as your online presence? It's essentially the first snapshot that they may have at your community. So that's one of the major things, if not the most important thing that we look at. And then from there, that's being found. So we do a lot of search engine work. You know, how are you going to be found in Google, Yahoo, and Bing? How do we get them to you? Once they land on the site, there's a credibility piece. What does the site look like? How is it branded? What is the new logo going to look like? That's the secondary factor that we have to take a look at, which is incredibly important. Third factor we consider is the usability. How easy is it for that user, that business, or that organization to use your site? We know through studies that if we can't get that user within 2 or 3 clicks into the website, and you guys are web users, what they end up doing is clicking that X and moving on somewhere else and researching. So through analytics that we'll install on the site, we will study that. One of the big pieces and components of this project is what we call information architecture or site architecture. So it's not just about putting pretty colors up, pretty pictures up, it's how usable is that website, and also what we need to integrate into the website with the GIS system and things of that nature. If you will, start back up to, let's see, we're out here. Okay, yeah, that was perfect where you were actually. On page, for board members, you guys should have a copy of the proposal. If not, I have some I can give you afterwards. One of the main things, and we do work with about 65 different ED organizations, chambers, tourism of sorts, but collectively we have 763 current clients. And there was a misprint within the proposal. I think it said 35 employees that we have at Intensity. We actually have almost 60. We're making a job offer today to the 60th employee, actually. That encompasses executive management. That also, we have a full design team. We also have our own developers, software engineers, front-end engineers. We handle the workload completely in-house. A couple of reasons why we do that is because of quality control and deliverables. We want to make sure everything's on time. One of the big reasons why organizations go with us, not just ED, but our healthcare organizations, our higher education, colleges and universities go with us, is because of the content management system. The acronym for that system is CMS, and essentially just allows you to manage the content across your website. Whether it's photos, videos, blogs, whether it's news articles, bulletins, whether it's community events. This system we specifically, and we're on the 2.5 version currently, this system we specifically created for a non-technical mind. Now that doesn't mean that it's a basic or a simple system. It does a lot of heavy lifting. It gives you a lot of control pretty much on the entire website. But we built it specifically for the non-technical mind, and beyond that, for more of a marketing mind. You don't have to know code, you don't have to know a developer's level of experience to be able to manage the site. It's very simple, and people are shocked within about 10 or 15 minutes of instruction, I can pretty much have you add new web pages to the site. So it's very intuitive, very easy to use. It is a proprietary system. It is not an open source content management system. Multiple reasons for that. It gives us complete control on what we want it to do. So what that means is, if you want it to, the content management system to have the ability to do something that's a little bit outside of the box, we built it. We can manipulate the system to do exactly what we want it to do. So if you ever down the road, through growth, you need some custom development work, we have that ability in-house, and we can instantly implement that within the content management system. On the screen you see in front of you here, this is a quick snapshot of the control panel. One of the things that we're really big about at Intensity Interactive is transparency. If you need us, we are there. We are available 24/7 every single day of the year. With as many clients that we do have, especially some of our healthcare clients, you can imagine if there's a PR situation that they need help with, we're there, they can contact us. In fact, we assign a dedicated project manager to your account. That will be your day-to-day contact person that will come on site and work with you through this project. The reason why I bring that up is if you look on the very far right, if you can scroll down just a little bit on the slide. Perfect, thank you. On the right, it says Quick Info Panel Account Manager Information. As soon as you sign into your website on the back end of things, it will give you exactly who your project manager is, their name, their email, and a direct line for them. So if you need them, at any point, you can instantly look right there and see that they're available for you. Popular pages, if you look to the left of that, this is not intended to replace analytics. We will install a whole slew of analytics on your site that will drill down all the way to tell you what organization, what company has come to your site, where they went, how long they were there, the entrance page, how they found you through the search engines, and also where they left you at, and how long they spent on each page. It's a really comprehensive tool. But the popular pages is just a quick snapshot of where people are going within your site, what pages are the most popular. Typically you'll see home pages #1, but then the drill down will go beyond that. And essentially that's just a sitemap or a site tree. Think of it kind of like a family tree, if you will, and it will be based according to that. You have quick links, so it's easy to add new pages, manage the current content, manage users, different permission levels, so you have administrator level users, then we have standard or regular users, and we can set their permission levels in what areas within the website that they can change the content. All right, you want to scroll down a little bit more? Some of the standard modules that we've included within the content management system will be your news managers, event calendars. You do have the ability to do a site-wide print on demand, meaning that it's only going to print out the sections that you need, not the entire page. So it actually makes sense when you look at it on paper. Form managers, this gives you the ability to build forms, capture information from users. It's completely custom. You can set it up however you want, and we will build some forms for you, of course, as part of the project. A survey manager, and also some quick pull managers. And really, those are designed to engage the visitor. Again, we don't want them to click the X and go somewhere else, right? We want to keep them within our site. Any questions so far? And again, please make this as interactive as you want. You can feel free to ask questions along the way and stop me. No? Okay. Some of the other standard features are going to be, you can have as many users on this system as you want, meaning that there is no licensing fee per user. You can imagine some of our larger organizations may have 100, 150 users of the content management system. That's not uncommon. So we do not charge by user. Very intuitive user interface. It is entirely web-based. There is no software to install on a computer. There's a set of credentials that you have to give in order to get into the back end of the system, so you don't have to worry about it being someone who's unauthorized coming into the site. You have complete content control on all of your existing pages and new pages. And I'm not going to read down every single bullet point of this. It's quite a bit, it's very involved. But you do have WYSIWYG editors, meaning what you see is what you get. So what you put on the screen is what it's going to end up looking like. Version control, it archives everything. You don't lose anything. Any page within the site can be password protected. Okay, you can assign a certain user ID, or you can assign a generic user, so anybody can get in there. Workflow configuration and page scheduling, that's also important. You can pre-build a certain page or certain bits of information that need to be out to the community. You can schedule it exactly when you want it to go live and when you want it to expire, down to the exact time that you want it to go live. On-site search features, kind of like your own Google within the website, if you will. So if someone can't find exactly what they're looking for, they can easily go up into the search field, type a relative keyword in, and it will search and scan the entire site to find that information for them. Redirect features and vanity URLs. This is important for the marketing folks, if we have any marketing minds in the room at the moment. You can create what we call target URLs or vanity URLs. So if you do any sort of outreach marketing, it can say, instead of your website, .com or .org / and then sometimes it's a whole bunch of characters that make no sense. You can say Fall Event 2013. And as you do outreach marketing, you can see how many people, as you do print material and things like that, how many people have come back to the website based on that specific web address that you put out there in the community. So it's a great way to gauge your marketing efforts within the community. Scalability of the system. Not to get too technical here, but we do everything in ASP.NET. It's Microsoft.NET. And all that means is there are multiple languages that can be written in. Some have ASP Classic or PHP. Essentially, ASP.NET, and this is kind of the analogy that you can use, is that PHP and those older computer languages are kind of like how they would have spoken English 300 years ago in England. You know, Shakespeare's times, think about it like that. Fast forward, as technology has grown vastly, .NET is the way we currently speak. The reason I bring this up is .NET allows you, as we develop in that, allows you to expand indefinitely. You're not stuck working within that box per se. Okay, so we can make this system do whatever we need to make it to do. Okay, if you have an idea, a year from now or 2 years from now, we can make this system work. We can do all the custom development in-house. So that's important to think about. You want a system that's going to grow with you and last for a while. You don't want something that you're just going to be stuck with. I have to do it because it says I have to do it this way. As far as hosting, we are not a hosting facility. There are companies out there that's all they do. It's very expensive to host. As you can imagine, the data centers and things like that. We actually use software. We're very transparent about this. Software and Rackspace out of Texas is the best you can get. It's a tier 3 hosting system with redundancies, nightly backups, of course. It's pretty much the best there is out there. And if you go on to, yeah, exactly, thank you, to the next page here, we've included some examples of work, and I can bring up some sites, some live sites that you can take a look at, whether it's ED, chamber, or whether it's tourism. We've done a lot of work in this area. The company, just to give you an idea, was originally in our corporate offices. We do have an office here in Florida, but our corporate office is in Knoxville, Tennessee, and East Tennessee. You can imagine the growth in East Tennessee with the Great Smoky Mountains, the chambers, economic development. We have quite a bit of clients up there, and that's kind of grassroots where we started. So we have a lot of experience in that area. And these are just some examples, and I can certainly pull up some live sites for you if you'd like. On the next page here, it includes some additional examples. We have quite a bit to look at. References, I would certainly encourage you to call any of our clients. That's one thing that we are very proud about, is that in this industry, the client retention rate, unfortunately, is very low. Our retention rate is in the high 80s, actually, 86, I think, %. So when clients come to us, they stay with us. Again, we kind of hold your hand through the process. There is a specific process that we do have in place in your dedicated project manager. They're the ones to walk you through that, and they will explain everything through the project. And a little bit more about who Intensity is. I think I've told you quite a bit already, but you can certainly read through that. Some organizational charts. And on the next page, we have the company profile, length of time of business, our core competencies. We do everything. If it's the web, if it touches the web, we do it. But we truly started out in the middle 90s as a web company. We were not a traditional marketing firm that did print back in the 80s and 90s. And then because of the technology boom, we had to convert over to web. We started out truly as a web company with 2 employees, and now we've grown to 60. Percentage of work staff at any given time, 15 to 20% of the people within our work staff will be actively engaged in your project. We have to have, and in some cases, we get to a situation where we're doing a lot of custom development for you down the road. That would increase quite a bit. Some of the resources, account service, your project managers, account managers, we talked about that. We do have site architecture specialist, Jason Simons. He actually is the head of that. And again, that's one of the big things about your site. It's not about making a pretty site, it's about making a usable site. A site that attracts those organizations and businesses to the community. So usability is a critical factor here. We also have designers, of course, like I said, our Vice President of Technology, who oversees all the technical stuff. His name is Brian McKinn, wonderful, wonderful guy. We also have some senior level programmers and some junior level programmers, front-end engineers and back-end engineers as well. And they have a multitude of various tasks that they do within the site. Time frame for the completion. This is one of those, we say about 10 weeks, it could be 12 weeks. It could go as fast as 8 weeks, it could take as long as 16 weeks. It's really hard to say, but it's somewhere within that time frame. I will tell you, no matter who you choose for this website, I'm very honest and upfront about this. And I don't know if the other gentleman is here, and he can probably attest to this, but the number one thing that will hold any web project up is getting content from you. Now, if you want us to do the copywriting, write the content, we can certainly do that. We have 3 copywriters on staff. But most clients, 90% of the clients, actually create their own content or use their current content. And where any project will hit that proverbial brick wall, and I'm very upfront about this, is you supplying us that content, because then we have to style it up, get everything ready, make it look presentable, that kind of thing, and make tweaks, of course, along the way. Any questions so far? All of the cost breakdowns are outlined on the last few pages, so review those and let me know if you have any questions. This is a full-blown project. It's not, it's everyday business for us. It's nothing that's out of the ordinary. If we were to be awarded this contract, it wouldn't be something we go, uh-oh, what do we do? It's all hands on deck, let's go. We would have project managers down here to start a kickoff meeting as soon as you possibly could and get the project going. Questions, anybody?
Yes, sir, Rick. What do you like to add, please, sir?
On the cost breakdown, I just wanted to ask a couple questions. Hosting is included first year. Second year, do you know what that cost is?
Yeah, typically if you look down on the second from the bottom up above development total right there, that is your ongoing licensing support. This is not an open source content management system. The difference between open source and proprietary is that open source is created by everyday people who use that content management system. So you can pull in plugins and things to make it do certain things, but it's not developed by the company itself. We developed this system. It's a big system. It's a heavy lifting system. Heavy lifting, but simple to use. That's why you're seeing some licensing fees there. As far as the hosting breakdown, that's probably $20 to $30 a month of that price. So the hosting is very minimal cost.
That's included in the
That's correct.
InPower support and license.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
InPower is actually the name of the content management system, yeah.
Okay. Okay, that led actually to the next question.
Sure.
The 3,225 per year,
Mhm.
is that what it takes for us to keep the system going? I mean, can you explain that a little bit as far as what that gets us per year and why
Right.
that's important, please?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, actually. Some places will charge $20, $30, $40, $50 a month for the ongoing hosting, if you will. And the reason why they're not charging you a licensing fee is because they're using an open source platform. Ours is not. It is a proprietary system, so there is some licensing fees. So the bulk of what you see in that fee is the licensing fees. You're also given support hours that are allotted per year, and the hosting is thrown in there. It's kind of included just as a general thing anyways. So that's the fees you're seeing as a licensing and support.
Okay. So it would be required for us to continue paying that and continue using the site?
Not necessarily. You own the site.
Okay.
Let me make that very clear. With the design and the content, photography, anything like that you own. The only thing you do not own is the software. No one's going to sell you the rights to their software per se. It's because of the system. But everything else you would own, but that's what that is for. At any given point, if you were dissatisfied with intensity, you decided to take your site elsewhere, the site can be migrated over to another content management system as long as it's written in that ASP.NET, which most sites are nowadays. You can take that site elsewhere. You are not stuck with us in a marriage per se. If you're not happy, you can certainly, this will work elsewhere. We don't build it in a way that, sorry, you're stuck with us. We don't believe in that. That's why we do have such a high retention rate, because we make it very easy to contact us, and we work with you on site. Great question.
Yes.
On edits, you would make the edits to the pages for us. If for example, we, I don't know, there's something in the content that changes, we have to take something out, put something in, you would make those changes?
Well, we actually put you in the driver's seat. The purpose of the content management system is allow any users of that system, whoever you are authorized to make the changes to the website, it gives you all the ability to easily make changes. Now, for some reason, if you're not comfortable with that, of course, we'll train you guys on how to use this system. We'll do a full-blown training for everyone. But for some reason, if you're not comfortable, or if it's a large change, that's why we have those support hours that are built into that annual fee. So you can always contact us, and within a few moments, typically if it's a general change, within a few moments we can, while we have you on the phone, we can make that change. But the purpose of the CMS, or content management system, is to allow you all to make edits, updates, changes, deletions to the content, again, site-wide. So whether it's photos, text, videos, anything. Great question.
Any other questions?
You have a statement to make?
Yes.
Your presentation is very well done. It's smooth, precise, and exact. As a matter of fact, it's enjoyable.
I appreciate that.
I only have one suggestion.
Yes, please.
With your visuals, they're way too small.
For the
when
big
you have
screen,
to
I
look-
agree.
When you have to look at your handout, you tend to lose attention. So if you keep it precise, and you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, and let me apologize also. I thought it was a proposal review, so that is my mistake. I would have had a nice PowerPoint presentation for you. Not the case, unfortunately. Shame on me, right? But instead, I wanted to get down to the nitty-gritty right here and show you exactly what we're talking about with this project. A project like this, if you are not involved in the web world, and thank you for those comments, by the way, sir, I appreciate that. But if you're not familiar with web development, this is a foreign thing to most people. And I can't stress to you all enough how we take such a complex thing and make it so simple for you all as a client. Most people are terrified of something like this unless you specifically have that web experience. But we will hold your hand through it. It's our everyday business. But thank you again, sir. Anyone else? Question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. There are 2 yeses, so I don't know who I'm looking at.
Me.
All right, there you go.
Well, to speak to the 3,000 a year,
You said that it's licensing because did you say it's a closed forum?
It's a proprietary piece of software, yeah. It's a proprietary content management system. It's not owned by the general public as some content management systems are.
Okay, and is there an advantage? What's the advantage or disadvantage of that?
Yeah, that's a very common question, a very valid question. You know, if you were building a site that was very basic, it was kind of a local small business, just needed to make a few little edits, something that's not that complex. Open source content management systems like, I'll give you some examples, some of you all may have heard of these, WordPress, Drupal, Expression Engine. Those are open source, meaning that it's created by everyday people out there in the world that use this system. So they have little bits of functionality to make it do this and that. And when the system, unfortunately, if it were to break on you, who do you call? There's no one particular company that created that system. It's freeware. I don't know if you guys remember back in the 90s, but when software developers were starting to create software for personal computers, you had what's called freeware or shareware. It's kind of that same concept in that this platform or piece of software, not ours, but if you were to go with that open source content management system, it's not really owned by anyone in particular. So if you do have those issues or you want to make it do a certain thing, it's kind of like scratching your head, well, what do we do? With our system, it's proprietary, meaning we built it, we created it, our full-time employees, we know it in and out. If it breaks, we can immediately fix it. If we wanted to do something that's just a totally out-of-the-box idea, we can make it do that. So that's the difference. Does it cost more? Absolutely, because it's not free. It's not freeware in a sense. It's not an open source content management system. The major difference, and you can talk to any of our references, and this is the reason why they chose this system, the ease of use, and all of its a slew of capabilities. But it literally, if you can read the screen, you can pretty much figure out what you need to do. It's almost mocked up after a Microsoft effect. You know, if you're used to Microsoft Office, those icons are going to be similar. You're going to be kind of familiar with it already. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yes, sir. I thought I heard somebody else.
Rick?
Okay, and I don't know the number of pages that we need to bring into the new system, because we have one out there, we have pages and pages, I think, of...
A lot of it's old archived information
Yes.
that you would need to carry over, correct?
Yeah. Is there a cost per page after the first 150, or do you have...
You know, that 150 number we're very loose on that. If you all, we've actually done some page scannings of your current system. You know, if it comes out to 185 pages, that's not a big deal at all. The reason why we put that in there with our larger universities that we have, they have 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 pages. So they may tell us we want 1,000 pages, and then at the end of the project, they're really, no, we need 3,000 pages worth of content. That's a significant difference. So with the size of your site, the 150 pages, if you wanted me to bump that up to 200 for your own comfort level, I would certainly do that. I wouldn't have any issues with that. If we did 2,000, it's a different story. But technically, yes, there is a cost per page. I think it's typically, I want to say $15. It's not much, but I don't, after looking extensively through your site and looking through the archived information, what content we would bring over, what content may need to be rewritten, repositioned, repurposed, I don't even think you'll touch 150. I think you're realistically looking at about 90, maybe not even that, in the 80 somewhere. So this gives you plenty of room to play with. We're not necessarily stuck on that number. If you come back to us and say, we like you guys, but we want 250 or 300 pages, that's not a problem. The site will, with the content management system, it will let you add as many pages as you want. Once the site's live, you can add an indefinite number of pages. There's no cost per page. This is just the content migration portion. Foreign language I'm speaking up here with all the technical stuff. Mr. Chairman, you had a question?
No.
Oh.
Did I have a deer in the headlight look?
Yeah, I thought you were like waving your hand going, hey, I need your attention. Okay.
I was going to see if there was any other questions here.
Yeah.
Yes.
You talked about training. In your proposal mentions training. It's not clear how much training. It says Empower 2.5. I don't know if it's talking about a version number.
It's a version number of the software, yeah. No. We would come on site and spend at least a couple of days with you. Depending on how many users you would have making changes to the website and using the software, If it's 5 people, we could do that in one day. If it's going to be 50 people, we would break that probably down into 4 or 5 different training sessions. So it's usually, we'll say, up to 2 or 3 days worth of training. But typically, you probably only need about 2 or 3 hours, and it's pretty easy.
2 or 3 8-hour days.
Not quite, we hope not. No, it's fairly easy. Actually, I think you'll be quite surprised, especially if you've never managed content on a website, how easy it is. And we could also set up, if you guys wanted to see the software in action, I could set up a demo for you guys and we could go through it. It's really pretty cool software.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Let you speak.
I may have missed the meeting and might be asking a dumb question, but what are we looking at a new website? I mean, what is the reason that we're searching for a different website? Is there problems with them?
Yes.
Yeah, what kind of problem?
We would like to improve the current website.
Well, again, if you could improve it by putting all of the documents on there, and it'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes. Okay.
1011, 235 Terrell Road. I don't know how the specs were written for what you're looking for this morning. And I commend you for looking at what you're doing and changing your website design and looking at companies to do it. I would encourage you, though, to be certain that you're looking at your overall digital strategy, which the website is just one small piece of. I was a little surprised that neither of these presentations at all linked their services with regard to site optimization, text messaging, any number of other components. There was some discussion of the analytics packages, which are probably the most important, and the specific ties to social media and those engines are really important. So before you just make a decision with regard to one area, be sure that you're looking at the total digital strategy, not just a piece of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I would like to make one comment. I understand the site is key, and what he was talking about is key too. So I'm not knocking, you know, I was just asking a question.
I don't have any questions of him, I do of staff.
If you don't mind, let me address one more thing real quick to this gentleman's concern about the overall encompassing all visual aspects. If you look through the proposal, I didn't touch on it quite much at all. In fact, what this gentleman was talking about, simply due to time limitations. We do have a mobile solution in there, and there's some other e-marketing solutions as well. So dig through the proposal, there's several options through there. I just didn't want to take your whole day up. But we do offer all of that, and it's outlined in the proposal as some optional things for you as well. Mobile is not its standard. The new website will render on any smart device, whether it's an iPhone, iPad, Android phone. It will render, reposition the content, and look exactly like a mobile site. So, any questions, Mr. Chairman? We're good?
Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I am very deliberate about things like this. So what I'd like to know is staff comfortable with making a decision on this? I mean, it's gonna be a hard decision, and I'd rather put it back to you to blame on or whatever.
Appreciate that.
But, you know, to me, I'd rather you guys negotiate with the one that you think's the best.
Right, that's what I was
I
gonna
know
ask.
that's a hard thing. I mean, And if you don't feel comfortable, please tell me, because what I'll do is throw it to people on this board who understands what's going on and support that.
Right. What I was gonna ask of the board is to move to have the staff and the council to go ahead and begin negotiations and enter into a contract. I do have a selection table of how we would choose the candidate, but, you know, I would be happy to utilize expertise in this region. If there's a board member who feels really confident in making this decision, we would love to have their opinion. Mr. Lingberg, whoever would like to help. But yes, what we would ask is to move forward with negotiations and enter into a contract.
So you
And to bring back before the board.
So staff feels comfortable with choosing.
Yes.
I will make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I got a question.
Sure.
Who is doing the present web pages?
That would be Jesse Wiggins.
Who is Jesse Wiggins?
He's just a local IT person that does it as a freelance person, and we've moved beyond that. And we really need to seek some professional assistance with the website. It's become way too time consuming for a part-time person to manage.
All right, we have a motion. We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second Donald's motion.
Doug? Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.